Talk about a lightning rod. Let's react to Southern Miss's Charles Huff. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz back with another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. All right, we'll get to the baseball. App State hosting Southern Miss. That's a big series for both. And Troy hosting Texas State. We'll see if Texas State can bounce back following that brutal loss to Texas. And we'll go over the Sunbelt RPI heading into the weekend. But I did not expect the reaction that we got yesterday from the Charles Huff interview. Now, suffice to say, been looking to get Coach Huff on since he left. And we understand the timing can be difficult when you get the job in December, putting together coaching staff, it's the holidays, then you kind of roll right into spring ball. And so I am appreciative of his time that he gave me today. He knows what the show's about. He's not foolish. He's done it a few times when he was with Marshall. So let's make sure we understand. He knew exactly what he was doing yesterday. You can go back and look. He says, I'm going to give Locked On Sunbelt something that nobody else knows. Now, we'll also say, no surprise that the biggest week or 2 weeks that this podcast has ever had for views and downloads was Charles Huff leaving. All right. You know, when you go from a championship squad to another team in the same conference, that's a little bit unprecedented. I think we had somebody do that somewhere else, SEC. But just this was kind of crazy. And so the reaction is strong. All right. I didn't expect what happened. So we got some early on, and you can look at it. If I get 2 or 3 comments, and I appreciate it, but if I get 2 or 3 comments, that's nice. 27 comments on yesterday's video. And so first we had Southern Miss fans out there saying, wow, this was a good interview. Really appreciative. You get a behind the scenes sort of what Charles Huff is doing. And then the Marshall fans joined the conversation, and they weren't having any part of it. So again, a little inside baseball. Usually you come up with a half a dozen to 10 questions. All right. And one leads right to the other. But you're going to have time in there to ask follow-up questions. All right. And so to say that I was not surprised what he said about Braylon Braxton. Now, Marshall fans are going to say the timing doesn't quite equal out. Someone said he played the results, right? It really wasn't the plan. He's just telling you what the plan looked like after the fact, right? I'll trust the Marshall fans in this case on the timing of it all. But to say that I was not taken a little bit aback by what he said, because I've never really heard of that, holding back a quarterback for conference play. He's not necessarily wrong, because despite all of Marshall's protestations, right, all of Marshall's fans complaining about what he said, they still won the Sun Belt Championship last year. And again, they were picked to finish 5th. This was not right. This was not a big. This was a big surprise to do that. Right, when you do that, that was a huge surprise. And so he may be still doing it, sticking with those words, but it was still an impressive, because nobody thought they were going to do that, including me. All right. So maybe they did come out of nowhere. Who knows? But that was a little bit more than surprising. The only time you see that is holding back a quarterback, as we mentioned, Jalen Rayner, right? Like, I think he stepped in the third game of his college career, finished up that one, and then started the fourth. All right, well, that makes sense because a true freshman, and you don't want to get the freshman killed when they're starting on the road against the Texas Longhorns. Pretty sure that's what. Maybe we could, not have our 18-year-old quarterback, mentally beat down in his first, going from high school football to Austin, Texas. That's a little bit much. So that makes sense. You see it in the NFL, right? We'll see, I presume Cam Ward is going to start, but he may not for the Tennessee Titans. But a lot of times rookies don't start the first half of the season. They work their way up. Jackson Dart's not going to start. Jackson Dart was drafted by the Giants, and he's going to sit for a minute because of the veterans that they got. So that happens more often than you think. Never heard a college coach admit what he said yesterday. So that was fascinating. The reaction is just as fascinating. All right. So we're past spring ball. All right. We've had Tony Gibson on from Marshall. He was great. First time we had a chance to talk with him. And we've had the Southern Miss coach, former Marshall coach, Charles Huff on. And it feels like, the Marshall fans feel like they are burned because he didn't stay, right? He's coming off a championship. Would Marshall fans feel this way if he didn't leave? Because they don't like Charles Huff at all. You can go look at the comments. They think he's two-faced, whatever the case may be. I like Charles Huff, big smile, big personality, and done nothing but win at Marshall. They go to 4 bowl games, right? He got introduced to me when they lost in the bowl game in New Orleans Bowl to Levi Lewis and the best Raging Cajuns football team maybe ever. And, had an issue with Cam Fancher, but, Rasheen Ali, and they just kept on winning and winning. And finally they won and broke through, went on the road. And I know the Cajuns quarterback got hurt during the game. I'm not sure that would have mattered much in the outcome of the game, but they go on the road and they win a Sun Belt championship. So it doesn't feel like Marshall fans are appreciative of the efforts that he gave them, not really caring about the results. They're upset. They're still jaded that he left. Good luck, Southern Miss. Good luck, 1-11 Southern Miss. Crazy. Now, we did ask him as a follow-up question, are you going to play Braylon Braxton to begin the season? And we do expect Mississippi State to be better than they were last year. I'm not sure I buy the whole, he's stuck with what he has. Are you stuck with what you have at Southern Miss? Because you brought in a lot of guys. I'm sure Jeff Lebby brought in a lot of guys. I understand it's tough to turn it around in one season. But that's a big, big ball game. I'm not sure Southern Miss is, potentially playoff bound, but I do think Southern Miss is going to compete in the West. They got a lot of guys that won the championship last year, as he explained, and they got Mississippi State at home. Now remember, Mississippi State has Fluff Bothwell from South Alabama, so they got a little bit of a running back, that's for sure. But if they may be the worst Power 5 team, Power 4 team, whatever it is, they may be the worst Power 4 team in America. Right? What was it? Eastern Kentucky and UMass. And UMass is the only one. Isn't Eastern Kentucky like FCS? So they don't have a whole lot of wins there. And so Jeff Lebby's in big trouble if he does not win that ballgame. First of all, you're playing at Southern Miss. And I'm going to give credit for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State to keep that schedule, right? We've seen teams back out early. Let me see here. It was Eastern Kentucky, right? And Eastern Kentucky is FCS when it comes to, I think, right? When it comes to football. So that's a huge ball game. I like the idea that he's not overlooking Jackson State either. So those are big ball games. Marshall fans are you going to hold Braylon Braxton out to win the Sun Belt? Or are you trying to win those games? So they're not wrong when they say that, but obviously they are still not happy that they lost Charles Huff to Southern Miss in the same conference. So that is an issue for sure. Yeah, they are FCS. Okay. All right. Let's take a time out. We got some big baseball series. Really do appreciate Charles Huff coming on. We're still trying to get the other coaches that have not joined us. Maybe they do have some time now that the portal, at least the guys going in it, are officially closed. You can come out of it at any time. Let's take a time out. We will talk baseball. App State hosting Southern Miss and the Trojans taking on Texas State. We will do that right after I tell you about Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple. Gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost without a console. Already have a console? A Fire TV stick device is more affordable and easy to travel with, allowing you to take your kids' games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's do this backwards in terms of setting the baseball weekend. Let's go over the standings first. Just as a reminder, it's just been a weird week. Like I had a bunch of days off. We had the Tuesday games. Some got canceled. Some got played. Let's see where we are heading into the weekend. Sort of set this up here. All right. So we have Coastal Carolina is in first. They actually have a 2-game lead over Troy and Southern Miss. Remember, App State losing to JMU. We do remember that. They lost to JMU, so it didn't only hurt their RPI, but it hurt their potential Sunbelt seeding. They could be sitting at 12-6, 2 games out of first, but more importantly, tied for second. All right. And now App State hosting Southern Miss. What a huge series for both squads. All right. The Cajuns are sitting there kind of sneaky at 10-8, right? The whole 20-23 doesn't matter because they're not getting in at large berth. So they need to win the conference tournament. Georgia State is sitting there at 9-9 and Georgia Southern is sitting there at 9-9. You know, someone is not making the top 6 and going to have to play in that play-in game. Texas State and Arkansas State are 8-10. Old Dominion 8-10. South Alabama 1 game out at trying to get into the conference tournament. ULM, Marshall, and James Madison also. They're all 6-12, so they're all on the outside looking in, except they're still only 2 games out from getting into the tournament. By the way, Marshall, as we're speaking about the Thundering Herd, 32-15 over Morehead State on Wednesday. 32-15. I saw that being updated on Twitter, and it said 10-7, bottom of the second. I go, did you guys play baseball or are you guys playing football? Because the scoring did not stop. Do we need to think we do? How long do we think that game took? 32-15. That had to be at least a 3-hour game, right? 3.5? It had to be more than a 3-hour game. That's ridiculous. 32-15. Because now we got to see if they scored. Do we miss it? Where'd it go? They won 10-0 in game 1, and then they went to Morehead and beat them 32-15. And the reason it wasn't run ruled is because they scored 10 runs in the ninth. Oh, my God. Let's see if we got a time. 4 hours and 4 minutes. That's a long. So it was, what was the score? So heading into the ninth, it was 22-15. So no run rule. It's got to be more than 7. It's got to be 10 runs after 7 innings, right? So they actually, Morehead State scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th to make it 22-15, had them having to sit through a 10-run 9th inning. Oh, man. Okay. So the big series, one of them didn't realize how big this series was. That's why we checked out the schedule first, is certainly Southern Miss against App State. All right, we can check out now. Southern Miss's RPI is still right there on, you know what I call the border, 40. It's sitting there at 41 heading into the series. All right. In fact, Troy, despite being ranked 15th in the country, is sitting right there as well. They are at 37, so that's big as well. Whereas again, my guy Mike Glavin is sitting at 33. They haven't played this week, and they went up 2 spots. So that's big. So where App State, remember, App State fell to like 177. They're up a little bit. They're 171. All right. So obviously, these wins for App State would be enormous to climb out. But at the same time, if you're Southern Miss, I mean, App State takes 2 out of 3. Now you're tied with Southern Miss and maybe in 3rd place, but you're going to be tied with Southern Miss, right? You may not be 2nd, but you'll be tied with Southern Miss. And you won the series. All right. Getting ahead of myself for these Sunbelt tiebreakers. You guys know how I feel about that, but that would be the case. If somehow they sweep Southern Miss, which I don't think is likely, you know, they may very well be in 2nd place, tied for 2nd. I would presume Troy is going to take 2 out of 3 from Texas State minimally. Be surprised if it goes the other way. I think that's a tough series, and we'll see if Texas State can bounce back. They had a ball game. Let's see if they won it on that. Guess we could do that now. See if they did win it on Wednesday. They did. They bounced back against Charleston State. Good for them. 13-3 against Charleston State on Wednesday in 7 innings. So they won with the run rule after really a brutal defeat against Texas, where they had a chance to take down the number 1 team in the nation. So that's a huge series. App State hosting Southern Miss and Troy at the Bobcats. What are, let's see, what's Texas State? Because Troy is not in a position to start losing games either in terms of RPI. Texas State's 85, so that's not bad. I mean, that's almost exactly half of what App State is. So you can see, I mean, Southern Miss could win that series 2 out of 3 and see their RPI drop. All right. And it's great that Troy is sitting there 15th in the country, but the real number that matters is that RPI. And you start falling into the 40s, that's going to be a problem. I would presume if, be interesting, Troy takes 2 out of 3, their RPI is going to go up. Southern Miss takes 2 out of 3, their RPI could go down. Not great. All right. Again, and if App State is able to take 2 out of 3, more importantly, they will move up in the Sunbelt standings. The first place team is on the road. They're at James Madison. Now, James Madison's just had a brutal season, right? It's just has not gone JMU's way this season. They are sitting in last place, one of 2 teams in last place in the Sunbelt. Tough to go on the road and try and claim a sweep. So you would think at least 2 out of 3 for Coastal Carolina. They actually have a shot, should they sweep JMU, to get a little bit more breathing room between Troy, who I do think is going to take 2 out of 3, and probably Southern Miss, who's going to take 2 out of 3. Remember, that App State series could go the other way, and Southern Miss could start falling out of it. But these games are huge for both Southern Miss and Troy, should they need a should they need an at-large berth instead of winning the conference tournament. Either one of those teams can win the conference tournament, and then we wouldn't have to worry about it. Speaking of that, let's see where Coastal Carolina is. Coastal is sitting still at 13. All right, their RPI is 13. So right now they're in that hosting category compared to national seed category. So we'll see where they end up. And remember, if Coastal loses a game to JMU, that 13 RPI is going to plummet. There goes hosting right down the tubes. So as much as first place is on the line, Coastal Carolina can ill afford to lose a ball game. It's not fair, but that's kind of the case. James Madison is right above App State in RPI. They're 172. So I know baseball is built to win series. It's not meant to be swept, but a loss by Coastal is going to sink their RPI and chances for hosting. So even that is a much bigger series than it would appear. All right, let's take a time out. We'll go over the rest of the schedule and the RPI in the Sun Belt right after I tell you about FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. By the way, we had like 2,000 views on YouTube. That's a lot. If I could show you, anything over 500. We've been getting 1,000 with the videos and the shorts. Yesterday was 2,000. That's a big number. Today's may be about the same with the first segment. All right, let's check out the overall Sunbelt RPI to see where we are conference-wise. They're still seventh, right? Behind Conference USA. They're 36.0036 behind. All right. But they have plenty of room now between the Southern Conference and the American Athletic. And so they're behind Conference USA. So I guess they still have an outside shot. Again, some of those, the Texas State beating Texas State would have been, or Texas State beating Texas would have been huge. And then App State beating Eastern Tennessee would have been huge, but it did not happen. All right. Elsewhere on the schedule, South Alabama is at Marshall. I mean, that's a huge series, as we talked about, right? Marshall is trying to make the Sun Belt Conference tournament. South Alabama may be turning around their season. They're both on the outside looking in. It's the top 10 teams. South Alabama's one game out of the tournament, and Marshall's 2 games out. So that is absolutely a huge series in Huntington. Same for Arkansas State. Arkansas State is 8-10. They have a shot at getting into the top 6, and they also have a shot of going the other direction. So that's big for Arkansas State. Same with Georgia State. Georgia State's sitting right there. They're technically tied for 6th with Georgia Southern. All right. And so Georgia State needs to go and win that series against Arkansas State. Cajuns hosting Georgia Southern. A lot on the line there. Cajuns are looking to lock up a top 6 seed. And Georgia Southern is also looking to do the same. I just love when reality hits you and coaches admit it. And Matt Degg said it. Look, we're looking for a top 6 seed. If we can't be number 1, and we would have our work cut out for us to do that, we're looking to be a top 6 seed. And he comes out and says that we need 6 wins. They got 4 series. They need 6 wins. Well, we'll see how that goes for the Cajuns. And then we have, and then you have Old Dominion at ULM. So those teams are bringing up the rear, right? Oh, no, Old Dominion is right there. So that's a big series because Old Dominion is sitting there tied for 10th and ULM is 2 games back. So that's a big series. And that series is in Monroe. So these are all huge series for different reasons, right? Coastal Carolina, we think Coastal Carolina is going to beat JMU. Could be a sweep. Tough to do that when you're going on the road. But that's enormous. It's not about being in first place. It's about not losing any much RPI points or positioning. And they could sweep JMU and still go down. All right. App State has Southern Miss. That's about RPI for Southern Miss, but it's about being in maybe getting into second place if you're App State. All right. Marshall and South Alabama trying to vie for the Sun Belt Conference tournament. That's huge. Georgia State and Arkansas State looking for seeding. Same with Georgia Southern and Louisiana. Troy is hosting Texas State. That's all about RPI. That series is all about RPI. Standings a little bit for Troy, but that's all about RPI. Also for Texas State, they are looking to get into the tournament as well. That's going to be big for them. And ULM and ODU as well, looking to get into the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So still lots on the line. I'm always still looking for that Southern Miss Troy series. That's not coming until the end, but still some exciting baseball this weekend with a ton on the line. All right, let's wrap it up. Really do appreciate all the support. We are sort of climbing towards 2,000 subscribers. Really appreciate that. The views keep on coming. Please remember, keep those comments. That's how more people see it. And you just never know what's going to hit. And I don't know how the algorithms work out or whatever. And usually, the shorts, the views go, you can see it going way up and then it levels off, right? So it goes up and across. Still maybe growing. But we had a short yesterday with Sam Landry, the former Cajun softball player, go the other way, where it was leveled off and picked up as Oklahoma softball has now entered the chat room. So you just never know what's going to hit and why. As Sam Landry and Oklahoma are, well, they are what they are. So we're wishing her all the best. I know there's a lot of, I guess, ill feelings towards Jerry Glasgow in this case because of what the Cajun softball team could have been this year. And they're going to have a season to rebuild. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we're a week away from Kentucky Derby. So we working all weekend, do have Monday and Tuesday off. Speaking of that, Ricky Ronnie is supposed to join us, the Old Dominion head football coach. We're expecting to have him for the Wednesday episode. We'll see if that works out, but that is expectations. And again, we will try and reach out to the coaches that have not joined us, and hopefully they will start to make some time for us. Still, Dez could join us. That'd be nice. Dwayne Loggins could join us. That'd be great. And Del McGee. And so we're looking for 2 of the guys who haven't been on with us at all. So we're still looking to get some guys in. I do have Monday and Tuesday off. So we'll see if we can squeeze them in sometime then. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I'll be pouring bourbon all weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Again, enjoy the baseball, and I will talk to you again on Monday.